Man, people really out here harshing out on Far Cry 6's graphics. So today, let's take a second here to look at these trailers, and I mean really look at them, and see if Far Cry 6 has actually downgraded its graphics in its trailers as we get closer to the game's launch in October, or if there's maybe something else going on here. Now, flat out, let's get this out of the way. I am excited for Far Cry 6. Not blindly, of course, but, it's a mainline Far Cry game. I can't even say how many hours I put into Far Cry 5 on my PS4, and even now, after I went to PC, I put another 100 hours in. So, yeah, a new Far Cry mainline game is something I'm hyped about. But in reality, there are some scenes of the latest trailer that do look kinda suspect. And so, I thought maybe pulling up all the trailers at once and getting some good side-by-sides might actually answer some potential questions here. So, has there actually been a downgrade along the way? An easy way to figure that out is to take a look at the oldest trailer we have and the latest that's come out so far. And the main way we could tell the quality of these trailers is by Antón Castillo's shoes. I mean, damn it, man. God damn, those are some nice shoes. But in all seriousness, we can actually use these shoes to tell a lot about the cutscenes we're seeing, and I think it all comes into play for what we see as quality. The lighting and composition, and then the time and detail put into animations and assets really matter these days, and can really change things from a nice looking cutscene in a trailer to, not as nice as it could be kind of cutscene. Some people might think of the reveal trailer, the footage we're looking at here, as the first trailer that came out for Far Cry 6, but that looked really pre-rendered to me. Great looking, don't get me wrong, but it didn't seem like a realistic idea that every cutscene would look that good. Maybe in some crazy unrestrained developer version of the game, but definitely not the Far Cry 6 we'd be getting once it launched. It's not to say that we won't have cutscenes like that at all, but I think we'll only have a few if there are. So after that, things were pretty quiet until we had a gameplay reveal a few months back, and from then on we've had quite a few trailers. But none of them have maintained that heavily pre-rendered look the announcement had, which kinda lends to my theory. But let's go back to the first proper gameplay trailer we got, where we get a real solid look at the game's visuals, so we could compare the two. Even though there are some slight differences between the two trailers, there really isn't that much of a disparity between the two. The major difference is lighting for the most part, but even finding scenes with similar lighting to them, it's hard to say that there's much of a difference. There is, however, a difference between detail on character models, things like the bartender and the news lady versus Antón Castillo and Juan Cortez. But that's sort of to be expected, they are main characters. But in terms of detail, there are certain points where character animations look off, like the character models maybe weren't matched up to their mocap as good as they should, and certain points where characters' eyes are kinda deadpan. For the mocap, it's like, jeez man, but for the eyes, that's not something I'm too worried about. Far Cry games aren't exactly built for having super crazy detailed, character eyes and details and stuff like that. But that's why, in reality, Far Cry 6 will not be a perfect 10 out of 10 video game. We're probably dealing with a good 8 or 9 out of 10. And the reviews for Far Cry games generally go that way. So I think Far Cry 6 will be the same. I've never gone into a Far Cry game specifically for stunning cutscenes or crazy character models. They have some solid ones, don't get me wrong, but the consistency definitely varies in their games and from game to game. Objectively, I think Far Cry 6 is bringing a bunch of fresh ideas to the board in an effort to reinvent old gameplay loops and narrative loops, focusing on a sole bad guy, opening up both stealth and high-profile gameplay, bringing a focus on customization with your weapons that will allow for potential emergent gameplay. It looks like it's got an engaging enough plot too, with the cancer-curing tobacco and the guerrilla forces and bad dad stuff. And setting-wise, I'm kinda glad to be going back to a similar vibe as Far Cry 3 and Blood Dragon, some of my favorite entries in the series. And for a villain, Giancarlo is an excellent fit. Even if the animations are a bit off, it's more so the actor's performance that really makes the villain. But I'm also ready for it to not be perfect. Maybe some cutscenes will be a bit weird, or maybe some things will be jank and kind of unpolished. It's not the end of the world.
You're gonna be a fucking guerrilla legend!
I'm not fearless, but I promise you one thing. I will be fearless.
There are lions and there are lambs. Rule or be ruled. You are a lion. And we eat the fucking lambs.